Hello, I'm Alan Furstenberg,
And I'm Mark Tucker. We are Two Voice Devs.
Two Voice Devs. Good to see everyone.
It's Thanksgiving edition.
It is, although we're recording it a couple of days early, this is going to be airing on Thanksgiving. That's always a big time of year for me. I have a lot of introspection around Thanksgiving. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it's a time to get together with family and friends and just enjoy each other's company. Though it's different this year.
Yeah, it's going to be very different this year, which I know it's hard for people, but I think it's important that we stay safe.
Yeah.
But we could still reach out to people, and I think that's important that we do.
Yeah. So the family that we typically drive across town and have Thanksgiving with them and their family, they invited us again this year. But together we decided that we're going to go ahead and do a Zoom call. It's not the same thing, but at least we're going to be able to be together. So
Yeah, no, I know a lot of my family. We're going to be getting together on Zoom calls, and we did this sort of thing in the spring, and it was really good. It was good to see people that otherwise we wouldn't have connected with. But reaching out to them and finding out how they're doing, and just in general finding out what's up and sharing what's going on with our lives beyond the pandemic.
right. It feels good as a dad. I've got all all my boys are home now for Thanksgiving and
That's good.
for the holidays into January. So my oldest lives up in Salt Lake City, Utah. He's graduating with his bachelor's degree the middle of December, but they've been online for months and months now. So it doesn't really matter where he finishes up. But he's been isolating up there. We've been isolating down here, and he went out and tested for COVID and tested negatively, and decided that if we were going to come down, the safest way to do that was to drive down. So Saturday was a big day. He gets up and leaves there by 6 a.m. and drives the 12 plus hours to drive all the way down to Arizona. So my other boys and I decided we'd go ahead and meet him like at the 3/4 mark. But the funny part of the story is we had timed it that when he got to St. George, he was going to go ahead and give us a call, because that's in West Utah. And we would go ahead and leave our house down here, which is in a southeast suburb of Phoenix. And we ended up picking, because it was probably the most recognizable landmark, was this Subway, old gas station turned into a Subway on the far side of Kingman, Arizona. Well,
just to clarify, when you say a Subway, you mean the sandwich shop, right?
Yes,
Okay.
Subway sandwich shop. Yes.
Okay.
But so we had timed it so well that we were making the right-hand turn into this parking lot while my son was in the left-hand turn lane waiting for traffic to turn in. We were like spot on
That's
timing.
good timing. I like it when timing, especially when you're coordinating things like 4 hours apart, right?
Yes.
Because it was a 4 hour trip for you to get there.
Yeah, and plus there were stops for us along the way for stretching our legs, and same for him, and it was just funny because we were like, I wonder how long it's going to take for us to get here. We turned in and we like, is that him? And it was like right there. But it was good. We were able to switch off drivers, and the last part of the trip, the last 2 hours were after dark, and it was just good. We all
good. Well, I'm glad everyone is there and safe, and and everyone's together.
Yeah, it's good.
It's really good to hear. But I was thinking about all of the other people that that I'm thankful for, and that I really, really appreciate as part of my journey in voice in general, and specifically this year, what it's been like. And every time I think about it, I keep coming up with this huge list, but I want to talk about some of them today. And
there are so many.
There are, and just like you, I think one of the first ones on my list is my family. The people that I am closest with, who have, on one hand, been really, really supportive of all of my technology efforts for, decades now. And specifically over the past couple of years, when I, just start rambling on about voice. Or, who on one hand, and who have now gotten to the point where they will approach me and say things like, how do I do this on my speaker? And I can honestly say, well, I don't know. Let's make something that does that.
Yeah.
So the fact that I've got family and close friends, dear close friends, who tolerate me on one hand and support me on the other, I can't thank them enough. I really can't.
Yeah, family support is awesome, and this voice community has really been a great community. I've been doing this since 2016, and just met lots of people over the years. A lot of them online, some of them in person, and everybody's been really nice.
So, who was the first person that you think of when you think about how all the back in 2016? Who's the first person you think of?
The first person that I think of is Michael Palermo. So he was an Alexa evangelist, and he lived in Arizona. And I'd come across him before. He'd done Microsoft training for a number of years, and I'd taken some classes where he had taught. Just knew that he was in the community and a dynamic person. But when I came across Alexa, I started checking in the community about different things. And found out that he was an evangelist, and so reached out to him, and he was very instrumental and encouraged me along when I first started out. And in 2016, when I started the Phoenix Alexa meetup, he was the first speaker at it, and just gave me a lot of encouragement along the way. I don't know how much, probably more than maybe I realize, that he was involved with me being selected as an Alexa champion. Don't know exactly how that works. I know you have to be nominated by somebody that's from Amazon, and I can't think of anybody else that really knew that I existed at the time. But so thankful for him for getting me started and all the encouragement, because starting something new and making a big transition like that can be challenging enough on its own without encouragement.
I know exactly what you mean. For me, it was Brad Abrams, who was.
Oh.
I don't actually know his actual position. He was probably have his business card somewhere, which gives it. He was overseeing a bunch of Google Assistant and actions on Google developer relations and engineering components back when it started. It was 4 years ago. I looked it up. It was 4 years ago when they first launched it. And shortly afterwards, I was at a GDE summit, and he presented to an absolutely packed room full of GDEs who wanted to learn more about this.
Yeah.
And they demonstrated to us, here's the technology, and here's how you're going to be able to use it, how you'll be able to program for it. And that, from there, I hit the ground running, and all of the developer relations team at Google were there answering my questions. And, when I ran into problems, saying, well, try this, or think about this, and try these approaches. And Brad Abrams was the first one who was really responsive to when I would, had ideas and had questions. He was there and responding to me. And then over the, since then, and most recently, people like Jessica Irley-Cha and Mandy Chan have been the two developer relations people that I work closest with, who are always there and always responsive, and trying to, not just for me, but for all the developers that are out there who want to do good stuff with actions. They're the ones who are there saying, that's a good question, and let's see what we can do about getting you an answer. And trying to do so, or here's a new product that we think will help developers out a lot. So and they're just the face. And I know there's so many others in developer relations and so many other engineers who are doing this that I don't know.
Yes.
That I really, really appreciate all their hard work, and I give them a hard time all year long. And you guys don't, the public doesn't see the half of it. I give them a hard time, but I really, really do appreciate all of their efforts.
Well, and I push quite a bit too, as far as when is this feature going to be available? How come it's working like this? I, and the reason why I do is I just care so much. I
That's it
really
exactly.
want this to be the best that it can be. And I want to be able to be freed up with all the tools that are available so that I can do quality voice experiences so that this is successful.
No, that's it exactly. I think we all agree. We want to do great stuff. We want to empower people to do great stuff. We want to see great stuff out there.
Yeah.
And we may push a little hard to get that sometimes, but it really is all out of love and appreciation for what they do.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So one of the people that I was thinking about just has been so instrumental throughout the years has been Bradley Metrock. So, once again, I was starting out. I didn't really know anybody, but I was on one of the very first Bradley Metrock podcasts, This Week in Voice, and just talking about different voice things. And that's where I met Brian Romley and Ahmed and other people. So I just, that opened up a world for me, just even being on that first episode, and been back a number of different times. And it was the first Alexa conference upstairs in that library in Chattanooga, Tennessee, that I did my first presentation. So it was just over the years, really grateful for all that he puts together. And there's somebody that's involved now doing voice conferences. You've got Pete, and you've got Brett Kinsella doing VoiceBot.ai, and you've just got lots of different things going on. And just so grateful for all the people that do the events, and anybody that does podcasts. Just grateful for them.
I think of it in terms of, we've got we're building a fantastic voice community. And I think that's so important, is seeing everyone in the community coming together and working and talking about it, and
Yes.
And working together. I think one of the great things that is amazing to me is, on one hand, both Bradley and Pete run two almost competing conferences, but you see them work together, and you see them talking to each other, and you see them talking about where they're going. So if there is a rivalry, it's a friendly rivalry. And I think that kind of speaks to what our entire community is right now, is a bunch of friendly rivalries, which is, again, elevating everyone and, trying to bring out the best in all. And I think one of the things that typifies that so much is what we've seen in Voice Lunch, and the tremendous work that that Michal and Karol have done with Voice Lunch.
That was a gem in 2020 if I've ever seen one. I was having worked remotely already before. I knew that it could be isolating, and but just all the additional stressors and challenges in the world, having that opportunity to meet with such an international audience. I was just so, because I'd met a number of people at conferences, but I've never met Michal and Karol, and I've never met Andy or
What actually surprises me is I actually had met Karol.
Oh, had you? That's right. Yeah.
At the same conference where I first met you, the Newark Voice Conference last year. I actually met Karol. I had totally forgotten, and I met a lot of people. I don't know all of them, but he reminded me of the photo, and I'm like, oh right, that was right after I gave that talk, and we chatted about this, and but it's fantastic what they've done to, as you say, bring the community together and let us meet all of these people from around the world in different aspects of voice. Because one of the things that, as developers, I know we think about development. We think about that a lot.
Yeah, we do.
And we really don't have time to think about all the other elements. So we don't think about the marketing, or sometimes we don't think about the voice work that's necessary, or exactly what voice means to different people. So it's not all coding. There's a lot of other development, not to mention everything that goes into design and the ASR models, the AI model, everything around that. So it's great that Voice Lunch has brought us all together into the same room for now a couple of times a week. It feels,
Yeah.
And we can begin to understand all the other aspects that we didn't really have time to pay attention to.
Well, and just think about it. Started out as one voice lunch, kind of one international voice lunch, and now there are voice lunches all over the world. Different countries have their own. We do the voice lunch U.S. ones on Friday. There's language stuff that's happening on Mondays. I wish I could go to more of them. I've got so much.
I totally wish I could.
I've got to do, but I miss out. I definitely feel like I'm missing out on expertise that I could just and other people. Just having conversations with people about conversation design.
Talking about talking is how I like to put it, and I agree.
I like that, talking about talking.
No, and the people that we've come in contact with and worked with from that, and the friendships that have blossomed from that. I mean, again, I put down on my list being able to talk to people like Maike G, and I say Maike G because there's no way I can pronounce her last name.
Yes. And she's so talented with the sketch work that she does.
It's amazing. Her note taking is amazing. Her concepts on music and how that interacts with voice are amazing and inspiring. And she's joined my office hours a few times and talked about things like her background in air traffic control.
What?
And right, exactly. And I think that's one of the great things about this community is that, yeah, all of us are here in voice right now, but look at our backgrounds. When you and I talked about our backgrounds,
yeah,
it's from all over. And then mix that with 80 other people and all the stuff we're doing. So Mike is another great example. Rebecca Evanho is another good example. And both of them have been conversation designers that kind of, taught me as a developer, here's what you need to think about, even on the most basic level, to make sure you've got some good, a good conversation going here. And they've been invaluable to me to really help. I went into it 4 years ago thinking, look, I know, we don't want to have our stuff talk like robots. So I need to kind of talk this out loud and learn from that. And certainly listening to people like Kathy Pearl inspired that sort of thing as well. But really talking to these two made me realize, no, I still have so much to learn. And they've helped me a tremendous amount over the past year.
Yeah, no, there are just so many people. One of the people that I look up to quite a bit and admire is Noelle Silver. So she was, created some of the very, very first Alexa skills. Definitely, has worn that developer hat, but has had to work through conversation design. She's been recognized by Microsoft in AI. There's just so many qualifications that she has, and she's had some challenges. There's some things that have hit her in life, and she's spoken openly about them. But she is so positive when she talks that it inspires me. Even before 2020, things were challenging, and I still was taking inspiration from just how she approaches it and the attitude that she approaches things with is just
agreed. Yeah, no, she
awesome.
is truly inspiring, and at the same time also visionary.
Yes.
The fact that I think all of us in the voice space are saying things like, yeah, there's great things that can happen, and she says, here are the specific great things that we need to work on, and here's how we do it, and here's what you need to do next. You can do it. Go for it.
I totally. And the whole thing that she's starting up with Lovefluencers, and the putting compassion into development is very ones and zeros statements. It's a very prescribed and I guess detailed approach, but like, you can be a developer and you can have a heart, I just really appreciate that.
No, I agree. Those are great messages, and she's a perfect one to deliver it because she really can say, "I've been there." You can have a heart. You can do these things. You can still make a difference in the world and do it well.
Yeah, no, just hope that she keeps continuing doing what she's doing because it's very much needed.
I do too, and actually, in an odd sort of way, that that makes me think of somebody else that I really am thankful for, and that's my boss, because in a lot of ways he's very much the same way. He's very much in the we're developers, but a lot of what we can do is do things for good. We need to find the places in the world where we can make a positive difference, and we should be working on those things. Um, one of the companies that he's heavily involved with is what he likes to call the circular economy or a sharing economy, and um, and developing systems so that tool libraries can be out there. And these so basically just like a library lends books, a tool library lends out or rents at a very low cost tools for the community, because you don't necessarily you don't when you need to dig a hole, you want a hole. You don't necessarily care how you get that. You want the tools to do it.
Right.
And these tool libraries range in things from supporting, if you need a shovel, we can lend you a shovel, to if you if you need a die cutter, we can lend you a die cutter. And they work closely sometimes with the maker community to say, look, not everybody needs the latest 3D printer, but we have a 3D printer and we will let you use it. So
that's a great idea. That's a great
yeah.
way. I don't always need a table saw. I may need a table saw for a specific project, but
Right.
I don't want to keep it in my garage for the years and years that I don't use it.
Right, because then it sits in, and then when you finally get to it years later, it's rusted and you need to get another blade. Some of the tool libraries are fantastic. And one of the other great things is a lot of them are connecting experts in their field, woodworking experts, people who love doing this as a hobby, with people who have never really done this but need to do something and would like to learn.
Right.
And this is a place where they're connecting. And one of Gene's big projects is encouraging software to help these kinds of libraries. So, So I love working for somebody who's got that kind of vision about saying, what tools can I as a developer make to help you do something that changes your neighborhood? And by helping your neighborhood, how does that help the world? So
exactly.
I really appreciate working for Gene and all the rest of my coworkers, and how much they tolerate me talking about this voice stuff endlessly.
Yeah, I would like to have a shout out to one of my coworkers, Octavio Menocal. He is from Nicaragua, and I actually met him at that very first Bradley Metrock conference. He was asked to speak, and so he made the trip all the way from Nicaragua and it had to, I think there was, they ended up in Atlanta, but then had to take an Uber, him and some other international attendees. But anyway, so I first met him there and just had a conversation, but then kind of stayed in touch with him on social. And it turns out here at where I work now, SOAR, we're working together on our project. He's the other member of our voice team, and he every day has just been so awesome to work with. He's got lots of great ideas with just minimal explanation. We can talk to each other, and we're off doing something and bouncing ideas off of each other and code reviews, and he's just been an awesome coworker and friend. So shout out to Octavio. If you're not following him on social media, you should.
No, I think one of the great things is being able to come up with those personal connections where you can share something and say, does this work for you? What am I missing here? And I know for me, I've had that network with a bunch of GDEs and two in particular, Denis Valasek, I probably just pronounced his last name wrong, and Linda Lawton have been two dear friends who, especially over the past year, have heard me rant a lot about trouble I've run into on the assistant. And I can say things like, does this make sense? Am I just wrong here? And they will honestly say to me sometimes, yeah, you're wrong. You need to, this is your problem. It's not theirs. And I appreciate that honesty, because having friends like that who can be that honest with you is really valuable.
Yeah.
But I gotta, I really also have to say, Mark, you are also one of those people, and it has been.
Thank you.
It has been fantastic. Really getting to know you better over the past, 8 months or so.
No, it has been. It's from bumping into each other at a conference and just kind of having that be the start to voice lunch, really helping us get to know each other better and to a comfortable level, and that's starting this podcast together. I'm grateful for you as well. Whenever I have a Google Action question, I know I can ask you, and I'll get the good and the bad. I'll get it straight up. What's going on with it, but just
and I get the same from you when I've got my Alexa questions. Where I've got there's no hesitancy on my part to say, well, you know what, I don't know this, but either Mark will or Mark will know where to look. And it's been great having those conversations and seeing how those conversations turn into the conversations that we have here in some cases.
Yeah, I like the fact that we just pick a topic and don't really
don't really know where we're going.
Yeah, and we just start talking about it, and it's just been awesome to explore this and learn a lot from you, and this has just been a great forum to.
It really has. I really appreciate just how much I've learned from this, and how much I hope other people have as well. We've gotten a few comments from people who have said they really appreciate the podcast. They're learning a lot from it. And you know what? I'd like to say I think we're really appreciative of all of our listeners and all the people who give us feedback and talk to us about what.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Dana. Denis, just everybody that's giving us feedback. There's just so many people to thank. I could thank the VoiceSpark team. I was on their podcast. Great group of guys.
The Jovo team for all the work that they've been doing and their contributions to the community. Yeah. Nick at Red Fox, Roger Kibbe at Bixby. There's just all kinds of people that. Brian and Adam and some of the true visionaries that we've been able to talk with and come in contact with and work with. Dr. Terry Fisher. Yeah. All the fun of the Voice Den and things that he's done with Voicefluencers podcast, and just the way that he's passionate about it. There's so many people. It really is. We really could keep going on and on. Keep going on and on. So thank you to everybody. If we haven't spotlighted you, then don't know. I guess don't think that we don't appreciate you. Yeah, we do very much. We really do. We really appreciate everyone that we've worked with, because I think, as we said earlier, Mark, we're all working towards a same goal. Yes. And that's to make Voice a really awesome place, and we see what everyone is doing for that, and that's awesome. It really is. Yeah. So have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hopefully that you're safe, and that that you're loved and appreciated on this day, and hopefully not just this day, but every day. And we're here to help out, because we are Two Voice Devs. Two Voice Devs. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and take care. Take care.